So what I did is I repositioned the buckets. That one's still underneath the transmission. This one's going to catch whatever comes out of this filter here, if anything does come out at all. So always set your stuff up before you go in here and start dumping fluid. Let's see, I hear lots of stories about this being kind of difficult because it's so tight. We'll find out. I'll be the judge of that. Alright. Let me see. Get this light over here. Like so. Excellent. Crawl underneath here like this. Oh, how fun. Let's see. Oh yeah, this is great. I'm already feeling pretty good about this. Remember, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Oh, okay. Let me get it a little tighter. I might have to use a chain wrench on this bad boy. Who knows? I tell you, they put stuff on pretty tight. Oh boy. Whew. Let me see, maybe I'm at a bad angle. We'll do this. We'll do this a little differently. I'll go around this side right here. Worst case scenario, pop a hole through the filter and turn it with a screwdriver. But we'll try to do it this way for now. Okay, that's not going to do it. Let's do this right here. Oh boy, that's on there good. Let's get a little tighter. Nope. Why did they do that? Chain wrench it is then. Yep, chain wrench. Alright, let me see if I got one here. Alrighty. Pliers didn't work. Chain wrench is going to have to do the trick. I just so happen to have a giant one that I use to hold pulleys when I do timing belts. Yeah, let's see if I can get this thing untangled. Chain wrench it is. Oop, wrong way. This way. Let's go this way. I was so excited about getting this thing hooked up, I hooked it up the wrong way. Okay. Okay. Should never have to do this for a filter. My goodness. Wow. Kind of makes me wonder, what did they put on this thing? There we go. Wow. There's a lot of a little bit of debris coming out of there. Interesting. So, get my chain wrench out of there. Really curious. There we go. More fluid. We'll just let that drain for a minute. Let it catch up to itself there. Okay. Yeah, guys, a filter should never be that tight. Especially a spin-on, my goodness. Huh. Well, while that's draining, let's go ahead and match this up with our new part. It's always a good thing to do. If it's not exactly the same, at least take a look at it. Make sure you got the same stuff. That way you know that you got the right thing. All right. Hard to tell. I like the Mahindra one better, I think. But they're both the same size. And I did cross-reference these, and this is the alternate part, which is approved for this tractor. And what I'm going to end up doing is filling this with hydraulic fluid, coating this O-ring with hydraulic fluid, and then I'm going to spin this on. And I believe once it makes contact, you give it about 2/3 of a turn. But don't quote me on that. But that's what I'm going to do. So, before I put this filter on with hydraulic fluid inside of it, I'm going to go ahead and install our plug. That way, for whatever reason, if that filter fluid starts to run into the system, it's not going to come out of our drain. So I'm going to wipe this down. Install our plug. It's already been cleaned. My goodness. Boy, this magnet on this thing makes it want to float everywhere. Go ahead and grab our 7/8. Oops. There we go. Good to go there. And I am going to leave this here just in case when I start filling with fluid, if anything starts to leak, I'm going to see it right off the bat. At least I'm going to have it contained. So now, go ahead and spin that filter on with fluid. All right. So I have the filter. I have filled it with hydraulic fluid. And now I am going to put it, spin it on its housing there. Okay? And I got a little buddy here.
Oh, yeah.
He's pretty interested in what I'm doing. So he's going to sit here and watch and tell me everything I'm doing wrong.
Oh, Daddy.
Yep, that's right, buddy.
I'm doing.
Let me clean off a little bit of that fluid. Go ahead and spin this on. Preferably try not to spill anything.
What can you see?
Why is it not screwing on?
Yeah, look at it going. You gotta go on. You gotta go on.
Yeah, Grayson.
Oh,
goes. Alright, finally caught some thread there. And it spins on nicely.
Yeah.
So I've made contact with the case, and now I'm going to give it 2/3 of a turn.
That's cool, Dad. I good. I'll go to it.
Alright, so we're good to go. And I'm going to clean it up a little bit with some alcohol. Alright. Oh great, there we go. Almost out. There we go. And we'll let that chase the rest of that hydraulic fluid down. And we're good on the filter. And now we can start filling this transmission with fluid. Alright, now that all the filters have been replaced, it's time to fill this thing back up with 8.5 gallons of hydraulic fluid. Some people like to use a pump, but I'm just going to go ahead and funnel this bad boy and see how that works out. So this is pretty easy stuff, I guess. Just fill the case until we have fluid showing approximately halfway up this sight bubble. And there is a little red dot on there that we can kind of see. So that's going to be my target. Once I get it there, I'm going to fire the tractor up, make sure we don't have any leaks, and then move on to our next stage, which is fuel filters. Okay, so I'm done with the transmission. I was able to fill it up. I will say this though, I filled it initially till this was at the target, the dot. I started it up and the fluid dropped way down, so I added more fluid, and now it went back to the dot where it belongs. And as time goes on, it seems like it's filling up a little higher, but I'm assuming once I work the hydraulics a little more, stuff will level out. But it's just a little high, and I think that'll be okay. So moving on now, we're going to go over to our fuel filter here. And if you follow this line, this is coming from the fuel tank. So what I'm going to do is pinch this off and deal with this. And once I'm done replacing the element in here, I'm going to crank it up, make sure everything's good to go, and then do the fuel filter on the other side. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and start on this filter. First thing I'm going to do is cut off the fuel. So, knock my light over. Let's put that light about there. And we'll just pinch it off about right here. Pretty handy to have. I use these for like brake calipers or something. I forget why I bought them, but do that. And we're going to use a 10mm on this bottom bolt here and drain some fuel. See if I can get on there. Okay. And I hope I grabbed the right wrench. Okay, there we go. And the tough part about this is that there's paint on there. So, I mean, you might have the right wrench, but you won't know until you get the paint off. So, already starting to get fuel coming out. Drain that diesel out of that bowl. Oops. Drip pan in the right spot. And while it's doing that, we'll go ahead and loosen the bowl. Let's see, it's a 13mm up on the top here. And this should drop our bowl down. There we go. Let me see if I got a ratchet wrench. Huh, here we go. 13 ratchet wrench. Alright. This will make life so much easier. There we go. Oh man, hopefully I did the right line. Oh, is this thing not pinched off? What's going on here? There we go. That slows it down. Probably slow as that's going to get. All right. Sucker's on pretty tight. Okay, that bolt's undone. I think this thing is almost empty. Let's see what it does. Hopefully it slows down. If not, I pinched off the wrong line. Oh, there it goes. Excellent. All right. Now I know we're in good shape. Okay, great. Awesome. So, go ahead and snug this back up. Oh boy. A little hard to put in. Let's see, is this a banjo nut? Nope. Terrible angle to do this at. Oh, you know, let's get this for now. I'll just go ahead and get this. See if I can get this canister off. There it goes. All right. And let's see. So here's our canister. See if I can pull this filler up, this element. Oh yeah, that looks like garbage. Alright. Disgusting looking element. Go ahead and clean this bowl out and go ahead and replace it. Put our new element on. Here's our case that the element was in. Here's our old element. Here's our new one. And we need to make sure that these things are at least look similar. This is a Bosch filter element. Oh nice. This one came with a new gasket. So we are going to assume this goes over there on the tractor. I have drained this out. What we need to do first off is replace the bolt that we took off. This is our drain bolt, I guess, and that's a 10 millimeter. Go ahead and snug that down as we work off through the paint. And this does have a copper gasket or a crust seal on it. I'd assume you replace on condition, but for now, just go ahead and give it a good tightening. So for the inside of this, I guess what I'm just going to do is give it a good wipe down. Make sure there's no gunk in there. Clean it up good before we put it back on. Make sure there's no water in there. And we're going to put our element back on here. So this one has like these little pads on both sides of the element. Make sure those are there before we slide it on. Slides on just like so. And then what we'll do is replace our gasket over on the tractor and see what that looks like. Alright, so got this started. pull this out. This one is dry, rotted. It kind of feels like it. It's very, it's not very elastic anymore. It's kind of brittle feeling. So this is our new one. We'll go ahead and put this one in there. I already have fuel on my glove, so that'll act as somewhat as a lubricant when I get this thing on there. Let's see. The main thing to do is just make sure it seats in the groove and it's laying flat. Don't want this thing twisting up on you. So just work it slowly into the channel. This might need my other hand. We'll see. But then I'll get a mirror and double check, make sure this thing is sitting where it needs to sit. So with a mirror and flashlight, go ahead and look and make sure that thing is sitting where it needs to be sitting. And that looks pretty good. So I'm just going to go ahead and install the bowl, tighten it up, and release the fuel. Crank it up, make sure everything's still working okay. What I am going to do is probably undo that 10mm bolt again, just to make sure I'm getting good fuel flow, and then crank it up and run it. I can already see an issue here, so what I'm going to do is use the back side of this awl to kind of squish that gasket in. There is a spot here where it's not sitting flush. And that will definitely cause a problem when it comes to seating. Double check with my mirror, hopefully won't get stuff on it again, fuel on it. And that looks pretty good. Alright. And the best way to know is after we put it on, if it starts leaking really bad, well, no, I did it wrong. So, alright. Alright, so here comes the canister. Let's see if I can do this without messing this up too badly. Huh, that's strange. I have clearance issues now. Oh, there we go. Alright. So now the trick is getting this thing to line up and screw in without giving me any problems. That does feel a little weird. Wiggle this out. Okay, something's not right here. Seat it all the way. Okay, let's try this again. Goes. Let's see if I can get this light back in. So what I had to do there was push the filter element onto the, there's like a little bevel or something on hanging down from this. Just push that onto there, get the bolt lined up with the lower housing until I could start the threading it in. And now we just tighten it up. Get my 13mm. And while supporting this, I'm going to tighten it up, make sure nothing is binding. I doubt anything will bind. Okay, that seems pretty good. That seems pretty tight. Go ahead and release the fuel line. Let fuel start flowing back into that thing. I'm going to give it a minute. Let this thing fill up and see what happens. That's the plan. All right, we are now on the left side of the tractor. And get everything. And so what I did is I changed the right side filter, waited a little bit for the bowl to fill up, and made sure we did have flow continuing into that bowl. And we did, so I fired it up, it ran for a little bit, and it died. So I did have to pump this to prime it. I guess the fuel coming from the other side, the other filter, there was an air gap in there, and it hit this. So I had to pump it to get fuel back into the system. It fired right up, it idled fine, it ran fine. So now we don't have air in the system anymore. We shouldn't. So now I'm going to do this one. And I think initially we're going to have to disconnect this plug here. This is the plug that tells you that you have water in your fuel, I believe. Yeah. So just a quick disconnect. And I think we're free now. There's nothing else hooked up to this. So we should just be able to spin this off. And also, just to be safe, I'm going to go ahead and clamp this side. I don't know if it's necessary or not, but I'm going to do that. That way we don't have like a constant flow of fuel going into this thing and just making a giant mess. I could be wrong about that as far as the need to clamp that, but I'm just going to go ahead and do that anyway. And on this one, we can just use a regular filter wrench. We can get it in there. At least we should be able to get it in there. There's a couple lines I need to work my way around here. Thinking maybe I should have got a different wrench. Okay, here we go. Alright, and we should just be able to spin this off. Spins off nicely. And we do have fuel flow. A little bit of fuel coming out. Get this thing out of the way. I can get it out of the way. Can be a little frustrating sometimes working with this. All right. There we go. I need to get that side down. I think next time I'm going to use a rubber strap wrench maybe, and might be a little easier to work into this filter instead of using a metal type. Okay, so let me just spin this off. And I do have a drip bucket underneath with a drip pan. Let's see what happens. I would highly recommend doing any kind of this work. Get some safety glasses just in case you inadvertently have to get sprayed. At least your eyes will be somewhat okay. but it doesn't seem like this is under pressure, so that works. Okay, there's our filter. Now, I think I'm just going to leave that closed just in case, and we'll go ahead and take this filter to the bench and go ahead and do what we need to do to get it swapped over.